African president of the United States of America, President Barack Obama.
Good to see you. I just want to say everybody back home, right back at you. We appreciate you. You always give us straight talk.
And welcome to Straight Talk.
No, I don't know though. I'm scared.
Got competition in the background. But welcome anyway. Today, we're going to highlight authors again. And we have with us the prolific author of $1 Million books. He sells his book for $1 million. Can you believe it? Dan Knight. Hey, Dan.
Hey, WL.
How are you?
I'm wonderful because I'm back with you.
Introduce your guest.
This is Miss Jacqueline. She's a young lady who has many different talents. She's blessed my life. She's my stylist, image maker. She is a professional vegan and many other things. And I'll let Miss Jacqueline tell you exactly what.
Well, actually, I serve as his International Director of Public Relations, and we were trying to just boost his, I would say, legacy of his books that are out currently, in addition to those that are up and coming. On a personal note, I have worked for the community in various capacities in the urban community with youth, teens, adults, with wellness programs, as well as artistic programs, children as young as 2, and children that were at risk. And it didn't matter, it's varied programming for regardless of the socioeconomics, in addition to the age groups. So we have educational programs, and of course there are programs that are for fitness and wellness and enlightenment and cultural diversity. That is some of my personal activity. And I'm with an organization now called PHP, that is an entrepreneurial and business organization that is the up and coming largest and fastest growing financial services company. We are actually coming up this Thursday and Saturday. We are looking for new entrepreneurs as well as those that want to make a little additional money, $30,000 or more part-time. And of course, we have people that are multi-millionaires, people making a tremendous amount of money on a monthly basis in a very short time of putting effort into their scheduling. So if one is interested in a brick and mortar franchise, an entrepreneurial experience, or in fact, if you are interested in being educated about your finances, that's something else that I'm very deeply involved in. And you can call my number at 312-834-2371 if you would like to make an appointment Thursday or Saturday. It's a community educational presentation on those that may perhaps want to be financial brokers and agents. And I'm here with Mr. Knight because, of course, he's been on the show before and he's promoting his books as usual. And I'm somebody.
Do me a favor. I want to buy some books. It's too expensive. I can't afford them. Can you have them come down just for me?
Well, he has a variety of books. He actually has a variety.
Of cost too.
Well, yeah, some of the prices are down. They're reasonable, but you get what you pay for sometime.
Yeah, you get what you pay for at all times, really.
Well,
And you know, but I don't want him. I don't want him to come down on the value. I want him to come down on the price.
I see. Okay. Sometimes we invest in what is going to be important for us. And many times the prices do actually come down, but not immediately. Just like when you buy those videos that are of the movies that come out. In time, they do adjust their cost.
What's hot now, Dan?
Well, what I'm doing now is I'm letting people know that the top seller that I have right now is a book about prayer. It's a book that lets you know that you can command what you want. And everybody wants to get what they want, But you have to be confident that you can get it, number one, and you have to know what you want in order to get it.
Okay, how much?
Well, since we were talking about cost in relationship to value, what I'm gonna do for you, WL.
No, not just for me now. It got to be for my audience as
This
well.
is like the car salesman pitch. I'm gonna do this for you, just for you, today,
Okay.
just right now, nobody else.
Okay.
The entire collection, I'm gonna dedicate it to the W.L. Lillard Foundation in order for him to share with whomever he would like to share it with.
Can I sell them?
You can do whatever you wanna do with it.
I want to sell them for the same price that you were charging for them because apparently they're very popular. You sold them. So I want to sell them for the same price.
The thing is, I don't really have anything to do with the price. Amazon does all that stuff.
Oh,
Amazon, Create Space, Barnes and Noble, eBay, they handle all that stuff. I just write the books. That's why on tape we said that you and I were gonna start writing some books. Now then, you probably wanna go up on the price.
see, there you go again. Want to involve me in writing?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said before.
We'll write about your life. How's that?
The thing is, there's so much to be written about the lives of African Americans that, I mean, we could fill this place up every day with information that's valuable that each and every African American can share. Because when you think about the fact that you have all of these other people being masters of history, like we don't exist. And this is one of the reasons why I got into media, because you have certain ethnicities being put in certain places, and you have us pigeonholed in stereotypes. What I try to do is focus on people of value and of worth and of more high moral standing and character, like Miss Jacqueline and like yourself.
And Marshall Thompson.
To me, those type of African American images need more promotion than all of this buffoonery that they like to put forth. Entertainment and basketball, like all we are, is some sort of a joke. And
Right,
I don't
right.
think that my race is a joke. I think my race is probably the most intelligent race.
Most prolific in the world.
That has ever been. And we've taught the world. Our history shows that. That doesn't make us better. What it does make us pioneers of just about everything, you know, innovators. And I just celebrate being of a darker hue.
Well, I don't always like to focus on race or religion or mindset because it divides us. I like to focus on more intelligent aspects of life. Certainly, people that are of hue of color many times are diminished, and so many times we're not given the opportunity to be displayed in the proper manner. A lot of the images on television feed into ignorance and the stereotype. And there are actual people that, for example, some of the shows in the 60s and 70s when there were parents that were, you know, they were taking care of children that were black children. And it shows that, well, the children cannot be successful unless they have the parent that is outside of their race, you know. Unfortunately, people actually use that as, you know, an example, and they don't believe that you can go to a school that is predominantly a black school and be successful. Someone will say, oh, you must have gone to the school in the suburbs. You must have gone to the school. Oh, you speak so articulate, or you're so this and that, because they have fed these images, unfortunately. I was in a high school and there were a lot of black people. And there were whites and some other races, but the kids, we had a huge graduation. We graduated for hours, and most of my comrades and friends, they were definitely focused on a future that was uplifting, but they don't always display these communities or the people from these communities. Even in Inglewood, I had a child find my phone, and he had it. He hadn't dialed the number. He called me, he left something on my voicemail, But that kid would never be on television. If he was a kid that was a drug dealer, a gangbanger, or a dropout, he would be on television, of course. But this kid was so sweet, and I came to his house. The house was immaculate. And he had a little pet. The pets were nice and clean. He was there studying, and he was going to prep for dinner, and Mom came home. It was a single-family household, but there were 3 boys, and they were nice boys. And they were living in Inglewood, and they weren't even black. But it was a very nice family, and he kept my phone in mint condition, and I came to pick it up. So, you know, with the current president, they put a lot of untruths out there in his regard as well. I try and always discern judgment and use my intelligence about whatever I'm dealing with, and I give everyone a chance or face value. So many people use the media for the least of something that's going to enlighten us or to raise us up, because we've really lost a lot of programming, like, as they say back in the day, where the Brady Bunch and Mr. Ed and Flipper was what kids grew up with. And now it's reality shows where women are pulling their hair out. And so if we can get books like Mr. Knight is doing that encourage us to read, because technology is taken over, and people don't realize that reading and writing are a part of the learning process. And unfortunately, you get kids who say, I'm a millennial, I don't write, I just use my phone. And you get people that graduate and they cannot function in a few years. Well, my father died at 88 years old, and he still knew his timetables and high-level math and could recite countries and rivers, because the education was true. And technology is a tool, but not a crutch. And intelligence is, you know, many times we're born with a certain amount of intelligence, but it can be nurtured, or it can be, how would I say, left dormant. And if you're feeding it trash through the media, or trash in books and trash in movies, then it's not helping our community at large.
But you know, the way you said that, it was very, very true, except one thing. You said born with a certain amount of intelligence. People are born with the whole universe inside of them. And everything educable is universal. So everything is already inside you. It's just how do you bring it out?
Well,
And the way we bring it out, the way we have been taught to bring it out is we indoctrinate our children, because we were indoctrinated. We were indoctrinated. We were taught to indoctrinate our children. We were teaching our children to indoctrinate their children. So we just indoctrinated into a society that's not real.
well, I can vouch for what you're saying, because that's all true, but that would be a whole nother program, because we're not focusing on necessarily religion here. But I would say that in the Vedic scripture, which is considered the original scriptures, or one of the original scriptures, God is within all of us.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's the universe.
Yes, the Paramatma of your heart, as they say in the Vedic scriptures. And there's one God, and we've used religion to keep trouble and keep wars and keep divisiveness. But unfortunately, there's one spiritual power, and now they're pretending that they just found out there's other planets. See, in the Vedic scriptures, it says there are other universes as well as other planets. So, you know, when I tell people this, you know, or have spoken about this previously, people would always say, oh, no, 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 no. But see, now when the system says and confirms, then it's okay.
They want us to take a break for a moment. So we're going to take a commercial break. Please enjoy the program from this point on. Call your friends. Let them know that Straight Talk is on with Straight Talk. We'll be right back.
You should totally talk to him. No, I don't know though. I'm scared. I mean, you're so...
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Golden's Tropical World. Come to Golden's Tropical World for tropical fish of all sizes, colors, and types, and other small animals like iguanas and birds from all over the world. There are beautiful tanks, pet supply needs, including dog and cat foods, and expert consultation. Check out Golden's Tropical World, 8611 South Ashland Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Call ahead, 773-239-8809. Your pet shop.
Every now and then I get that feeling, and I've got something I want to say.
One of the great things about being a vegan is that the uniqueness of it.
And I've got to say it my way.
And so gathered with me today are just a sampling of those vegans who have become loyal supporters of Soul Vegetarian.
Welcome to Soul Vegetarian Restaurant.
Why? Why?
Why are you following me?
Why my hoodie make me look suspicious?
Why does my music make me dangerous?
Why are people that are supposed to protect me attacking me?
Why are you afraid of me? Why do you think I'm dangerous?
Why do I afraid of people who are supposed to protect me?
Why can't I make a peace sign without you labeling the gang sign?
Why does standing your ground only work when I'm on the ground?
Why do you show this photo over this one?
Why do you only stop and frisk me?
Why do you have low expectations for me?
Why can't I run down the street without causing alarms?
Why do you think I'm a thug?
Why do you assume I'm armed?
Why can I breathe?
Why is my mom scared every time I leave the house?
Why are you targeting me?
Why am I a target?
Why?
Why? Why? I know why.
And it has to stop.
It must stop.
Because I have dreams.
Because I can change the world.
Because I will make a difference.
Because I have a family.
Because I am strong.
Because I'm talented.
I have a voice.
I can find a cure.
I have goals.
I can lead the country.
I am determined.
I have a future.
Because I'm a scholar.
I am powerful.
I'm someone's friend.
I'm someone's brother.
I'm someone's son.
Someone loves me.
And because my life matters too.
My life matters.
My life matters.
My life matters.
My life matters. My life matters.
Our lives matter.
And so did theirs.
We're back, and we're talking with two very prolific individuals who are imparting some wisdom. And I enjoy it. Do you? Let's continue, Marie. Go ahead.
Miss Jacqueline.
Oh,
I was like, I have a lot of names.
but not Maria.
Right, I have some spiritual names. I do have, I've been called a lot of different
Actually,
titles.
Maria is the beautiful, so he did call you one of your correct names. You are beautiful.
Okay, all right, yes. Miss Jacqueline is actually a brand. It's always of integrity and excellence, and you know, my heart goes into it. I've worked with a lot of talents and youth and performing artists since '91. I've done big shows in, towns like Columbia, Missouri with youth. I've got a couple of sons, and I remember one time in Columbia, Missouri, there was an Oktoberfest, and there was one fellow that he did, it was Jam by Michael Jackson, and my son, he did the tap dance part, and he had the one glove on, the other guy did the break dancing. And it was kind of interesting because people would say, okay, who did the break dancing? Well, he was a heavier kid, he was an older kid, like 14, he was white, and he was from kind of a disadvantaged background. His mother was very supportive. She said, this is a chance for you to do something with your life. And my son, I homeschooled him, did a curriculum, and he was doing oratoricals and standing up in the service and reciting, and already could read at 3. And, artistic, how would I say, creativity was a natural for him, but music was incorporated in the curriculum. So with youth, I've had little girls win national beauty contests, and one little girl came in second, and there was a baby girl in a fashion show. She was only, how old was Ariel? 3. Actually, my son was 2, and my son was 3, and she was 2. And she turned the fashion show out. She had on Flintstone diapers and, as they say, fake or faux fur that, he came and he took it and she threw it and he put it on the arm, and they both had their Flintstone diapers. And it was a store, a retail outlet called Unique Hair and Nails. So the hair division of it was the salon, which was his, the gentleman actually, there was a salon and then there was a nails, but Unique, the store itself, had the clothing. So it was kind of a family affair. But many children I've worked with. And the little girl, she was getting piano lessons. And so when you're little, you focus on chords. And I would incorporate ear training and her voice. So I have a little daughter in the family, a granddaughter. My son has a daughter. Her name is Layla. Layla, she's a brilliant little girl. She's been taking voice lessons since 7 months. Many children at 7 months aren't even, they're not almost very functional, I guess you would say. But she had personality to boot, and she had strength and athleticism, but she had serious vocal lessons. And I'm saying when I went to one particular school, the lessons that I was giving her were college level, and she learned them in a week and mastered them. So we were doing scales and arpeggios, and we were doing little, and on the scales, and then we would do the mamas and the mimis. So I was preparing her, because she has this star appeal, so I'm making her a star. She was already flexing and pointing her legs, so she was already in the mindset and already being conditioned, so when and if she takes dance, and her posture, and she's taken a lot of pictures. And I did study this formally. I went to a couple of the modeling schools, and I've been in performing arts since I was a child. I started the clarinet at 7. And various aspects of the performing arts I've been involved with. So I give what I can in the community to children. Many times when you're dealing with children that are quote unquote black children, Afrocentric, their priorities aren't necessarily supportive. They were already on scholarship, and many times the parents couldn't afford that. I've even offered all 5 of your children for the same price, which is a ridiculously low price. The price has not changed since '91. So I've been kind of on a sabbatical with some of this activity. But the children, they would learn everything that would allow for them to actually audition for an Annie, or any big musical. So they had ear training, they had wardrobe, they knew the makeup for stage, they had oral presentation, they knew all the instruments, they knew what a chord was and a half note and a treble clef. Even the little children, the toddlers, I had a Happy Face Music Baby, which was a treble clef that had long eyelashes, and I told him what an octave was. And an octave is 2 voices, one is higher, one is lower, and I would have little stairs, and an octave would jump down the stairs. So I have worked with children, and I've worked with teens and adults that are kind of old school and they're trying to get back in the mix of the performance. Many times they said you can't teach an old dog a new trick. Well, sometimes this was kind of true because the ego, you get the ego.
Why do you look at Dan when you say that?
No, I wasn't looking at Dan.
I sure was thinking about myself when she said that too. What is she talking about me?
I wasn't looking at Mr. Knight. No.
You know, I'm a young guy. I just have this body. You know?
No, we're not even speaking of age. Sometimes we're in a mindset and we're stuck where we are, regardless of the age.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm always learning, and I'm always developing. I'm always trying to grow, and I'm extremely critical on myself. So, but I'm always sharing. You know, I know there's people that do this because they say, well, if you do this, the universe will give it back, and it's a tax write-off. I mean, if you give, it's not a tax write-off. That's ridiculous to me. That's not giving. Just give, you know. But so with the seniors or with the youth or whomever, if you feel you've got it all going on and nobody can tell you and you're so great, that I've run into that a lot. In the performing arts, you may not be the best, but if you work hard and have the right, or the, as I guess you would say properly, the correct mindset, you'll make it. But many times, where our egos and our attitudes, that's what hurts us. We're not willing to grow and learn and keep reinventing yourself. Like Michael Jackson, he had a lot of different looks, and you've got a lot of these rock artists and pop artists, they keep changing, whether it's to lose weight or get dental work or change your repertoire of music.
But they're not connected. This is why they're able to do all the things that they do, because they're not connected.
Well, you know, God gives us gifts, and we can choose to use them for intelligent means or for the very low and dark, you know, aspects of life, which most people choose the latter.
Well, you can develop anything you want to develop, anything you desire to develop at the time that you want to develop it. Like Stevie Wonder developed his at 2 or 3 years old. You can play anything you heard on the radio. You can play it on the guitar, on the piano.
Well, you know, I think because in the days of old, there were less distractions. Like, you look at the art today, it's mostly contemporary. It looks like people are taking hands full of paint and throwing them on canvas, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas the Monets and all of those great art pieces, the Mona Lisa, there was no radio, no television, no loud L train, and so you could be more creative, you could hone in.
What is that just hand there?
Harmonica I got from the Blues Heaven Foundation. And a shameless plug, this Thursday we're going to celebrate Willie Dixon's 102nd birthday, and we're asking everyone to come out and enjoy the food free and the entertainment free. And come and enjoy the Blues Heaven Foundation, which helps to help up-and-coming artists that are struggling with the information they need to be successful in the blues, which my uncle said was the roots of all American music, and all of the other genres are the fruits. And he said he was the blues. Willie Dixon, this Thursday, 2120 South Michigan, shameless plug, 312-808, 1986.
And you play the harmonica?
Well, let's see.
Take also put harmonica player.
So if y'all don't remember the books, remember the harmonica.
Okay, but tell me, what about best Last Man Standing?
My man Marshall Thompson is a walking school of entertainment. If you want to learn the entertainment business, you need to go to The Last Man Standing. Every page of that book is entertainment history, and he's a living legend. So I implore everyone on the planet to get a copy of that book, because you can only bless yourself with it, and your children, and your grandchildren, and
that's on Amazon, right?
Come. That's right, The Last Man Standing. And he is the godfather of vocal groups. And he is the last man standing of the Chi-Lites. Our godfather, Marshall Thompson, the last man standing.
And
Excellent
I think
book,
the Chi-Lites,
excellent person.
with him being the original Chi-Lite, one of the original Chi-Lites, he's probably the only group standing with an original artist.
That's right. And he's such a giving person. He came over to Chicago State, no fee, unannounced. I told him, I said, you can come whenever you get ready because we don't have money to pay you, but actually you're going to be paying us in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, just like WL. These gentlemen are still in the entertainment industry, still giving, where they could have sat down a long time ago. But they love what they're doing, so they keep doing it. So I thank the Creator to have mentors like WL, like Brother the Godfather, Marshall Thompson, and a lot of different other brothers who are still sisters as well, giving. So you're teaching by example that the Creator is a giver. No matter what happens, you still see new plants coming up. You still see new people being groomed for success.
I appreciate you saying giving. One thing is many of the young people today, they don't appreciate the martyrs or the, I guess you say, trailblazers. They call them old. You know, when I was a child, age wasn't a factor. You know, we had a stack of 45s that was like, we had several, as a matter of fact, probably 4 or 5 of them, and the music went way back. And it didn't matter, it was just good music to me, and I was raised that way. We were raised more in a cultivated way. My dad's music, I could deal with that as well as whatever the most current was.
But you can't deal with the most current right now.
Well,
not all of it anyway.
Unfortunately, it's a fast money mindset today. People don't want to work because they feel when, you know, even if they went to college or not, the people that are of in their early 20s or up to maybe their early 30s, I guess you would call them millennials, they feel that they're privileged. And I worked at Wendy's, the one on 6 South Clark, and I worked at McDonald's, I worked at Walgreens, I've done catering, I've done whatever. When I was a child, we had puppet shows and sold lemonade and shoveled snow, and it had nothing to do with being poor or rich, and you can go to wealthy neighborhoods and kids are working. And that's a fallacy. They work because they see their parents working. But as far as music and musicians and talent, one thing that I wanted to interject is that they give, and that's what they want you to keep giving, but when the IT guy comes by that studied for 6 to 18 months, they're going to write if he says it's $1,800, $2,000, they're going to write the check. But somebody that has studied like a prima ballerina since they were 2 or 3 years old, is it donations or is it for free? Or are you going to do a philanthropic program, or are you going to do it just as a donation? So I wanted to make sure I interjected in that giving means that you're giving your artistry and you're giving from their heart and you're giving this intelligence and the gift that God gave you, as opposed to it's for free. I think that's a real problem in Chicago. Artists aren't paid at the level. You know, performing artists, it's a band. The whole band is supposed to get chicken feed, and performing artists probably all over the world, they get the short end of the stick. It's a profession. I used to practice all day on my clarinet. It's a profession, and you should be treated in a professional way. The word giving means we're allowing for you to get a chance to love and feel love and experience and be enlightened and feel the vibrations of this artistry.
But what I've seen over the years, artists who really get out and do their thing make money. They make big money. Now, some are not grounded enough to continue or to be continue enough to be productive and to be successful. And I know some artists who were dynamite artists. Dynamite on the guitar, dynamite vocal. In fact, I managed one, back managing him again. Now he's in London, but he said, my life is together now. He wrote one of the baddest records and sang on it and played instruments on it. and he failed to promote it because the producer would not allow him to play every instrument. And he said the keyboard player messed up a note, and he said, "It make me look bad, so I'm not gonna." So he refused to promote the record, although they played it on the radio and it got big hits, but he refused to go out and work with it.
You mean the particular production or the record or?
The record.
Yeah, well, maybe he had a very high standard. That's okay.
He had very high standards, but it was very short-sighted. The producer was Carl Davis. Carl Davis made the Shy-Lights, Gene Chandler, made, in fact, even Muhammad Ali did a record in his company. So I'm saying, he said, "No, man," he said, "we can't have you playing all the instruments because it'll be just you. People want to hear other feelings. When you hear other feelings, you get feelings. You know, you got very few artists who can play all the instruments and still have other feelings."
When you're saying other feelings, you're saying
You know,
emotionalizing styles.
You feeling me, and I'm feeling you,
Yes.
and Dan
Yes.
is feeling
Right.
the both of us, and we're all putting our own things into
Yes.
it.
What you're saying is when you're performing, whether you're a dancer or any particular creative talent, your artistry is put into it. So they're wanting to get this other energy, you know, and the other styles. If I play the saxophone, I'm going to play the clarinet the same. I'm going to play the flute the same. You're saying
play the piano the same.
Exactly. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
He may have just been an egomaniac, and he wants to get all the glory.
Well,
that could have been the problem.
He was a genius.
Yes.
He was really a genius.
Yes.
Because he could play those instruments so precisely that when the least little thing is off, it bothered him. It bothered him. He said, "No, I got to play this because every time he does that, he hit the wrong note here, he hit the wrong key there." You know.
So it would have been fine for him to have that if he wasn't so interested in credits, but he wanted a perfect piece of work. I understand. I have friends that are engineers and they sing a half step low. They sing and play a guitar or bass or whatever, and they're always singing about a half step off key. And I'm like, oh my goodness, my whole family were blessed to have this ear.
You're a musician.
Yeah, but we're very precise.
Get that record and see if you hear anything off on it.
I always hear it. I hear Donna Summer doing something strange. I hear, what do you call it, Destiny's Child when they're out and I'm a survivor, the chords are off. And see, my family, I'm the only one that pursued music scholastically, but we all, from birth, I mean, I had a little sister, she was on the bottle and she knew how to harmonize. And those are gifts that you get. And the family harmony is they're tight because your voice quality is similar. That's why Gladys Knight and the Pips, it sounds like one voice, the Unity, the Jacksons. The harmony is very nice. It's very nice. I used to sing with the Wooten Choral Ensemble, and we sang so well together because we had sung so long together and it became a family and we had great leadership. But when you don't, you might have raw talent, but you have this ego and you're not willing to listen or you're not willing to learn. But if you don't have a great ear, I mean, a lot of people are soloists because of that. A lot of the blues singers, they sing loud, but they don't maybe know how to harmonize. They have great voices, but they don't understand there's dynamics. And you know, there are people that they can't, they don't have that kind of hearing, so they don't get into harmony and all of that. So I understand what he's feeling because I don't like some of the newer music that is coming out where they have these electronic drums and it's this ticking. I'm like, what is this ticking? Go get a drummer. But the people, they don't want to learn. Earth, Wind, and Fire, they're phenomenal. They sound great. They studied music and they practice. They're, like I said, there's a world now, it's fast money. Everything is fast. Even the drug dealer or whomever, the shoe shine boy, they have to work to a level. You have to work and spend time.
What happened to these people, though? They all died too early for me.
You mean some of the good examples?
The good artists. Great artists.
Well, Aretha is still there. Barbra Streisand is still there. Johnny Mathis is still there. Phil Collins, I guess he's still alive. Sting is still there. As you see, there's a variety of genres as well as ages and ethnicities. But those, I consider all of those great artists, and I could go on. Now, of course, The Barry Whites and those people, yes, they had short lives, but they were partying very hard. You know, you can't do, if you do cocaine, you can't do marijuana, and you can't drink and do PCP and do everything and not get rest. So you're going to have a short life and eat bad food.
I just want to hear you say it.
and eat bad food, you know, so it's...
you say eat bad food. What is bad food?
Well, when people are speaking of, if they're dealing with the community that is the quote-unquote Afrocentric or black community, they call it their slave master's food. If you're dealing with people from Europe, many times they eat a lot of cured meat. And even though it's natural, it's cured. You know, you need living food. And me personally, I'm a vegan, but your food, when you look at a plate, even if you go to a fast food place, or, you know, many people call it a joint, you want to see colors.
What do you mean by vegan? Do you eat fish or chicken?
No, that's not a vegetarian. If it has a bottom and a face, I mean, that's, you know, this thing about, oh, vegetarians eat fish and chicken, that's amazing. No.
Eggs.
No, those are ovo-lacto. Then you're okay, but that's ovo-lacto. And then they have...
milk.
Well, that's ovo-lacto. Milk is for cows. The molecular structure was never for humans anyhow. This is why we're sick. And the doctors, they love people that are ignorant because they can make more money. When you're healthy, I mean, I feel...
Wow.
I feel
Doctors love people who are ignorant because they can make more money.
Yes. Because it's in the scriptures. There's an herb for every ailment. And if you change your lifestyle or diet, 99% of the time, that's the problem.
That's the largest part of the world.
Genesis 1:29 says, I've given you herbs and trees bearing seed for your meat.
Well, what
your
happened to you?
Meat is
Why
vegetation.
are you not
fruits,
eating herbs?
I do. I have an onion growing in my backyard. I have garlic growing in my backyard. And I have Miss Jacqueline to teach me how to do everything else.
Well, he's trying. He's trying. He's in his embryonic stage as far as changing.
He just called me from a restaurant, talk about ask Tony people.
Strawberries. Strawberries. Can you say strawberries?
Oh, I taught my sons, they used to call them straw babies. And I didn't teach them that. They were so cute. My older son, he would say, instead of bottle, I say, ba, ta, ba, ta, ta. He said, baba, baba. And then as far as strawberries, and they were straw babies, so we just kept it at that. And of course, his speech evolved. But many people, strawberries may be good for some and may not be good for others. There's those tiny seeds that can get locked in the little wrinkles of your intestines. So a lot of those kind of foods you need to be mindful of, like small seeds, sesame seeds, you can grind them up, and the nutrients are more available when you grind them up. So much of our eating is just outrageously ignorant, how we combined our food and what we're eating. It's amazing. Our tummy becomes a garbage disposal. To me, most of it is common sense. You go to a smorgasbord or to a salad bar, but you'll get a person eating yogurt and then they're drinking lemonade, and then I'm like, what's going on? And you know, certain foods are not supposed to be eaten with others. You know,
guys,
King Kong, he's eating a banana. You don't see him eating the banana and nuts. I mean, really.
Well, guys, can you guys say Miss Jacqueline's Healthy Snacks? If you can repeat Miss Jacqueline's Healthy Snacks, we will see Miss Jacqueline's Healthy Snacks in every supermarket in America. She's letting you know for free right now, but later on she's going to get paid.
Well, there's
she's
a lot.
always giving away information that she can get paid for in books. CreateSpace.com. I'm going to keep preaching it until every person on earth writes a book and gives the world something that they can get paid for instead of just giving it away for free. CreateSpace.com. Products, ideas, services. Write your book today. It won't cost you a dime, but you can sell a book for up to $3,000.
You know what we need to write a book about?
WL just told me I can sell my books for $1 million. So every book in his collection is $1 million. You know that. Don't have to give me a dime.
But
just give it to WL.
Well, there's great secrets out there. I mean, if you have the secret to how to grow large breasts or to how to live forever or whatever, I mean, but it's in many of the scriptures, actually, so many of these secrets. But what we were saying about food, on a serious note, they say you are what you eat. And I can look at your skin, and a lot of people, they may even be in my family. They could even be offspring. But the texture, when you eat beef, it's amazing. Your skin seems to look like leather. Mm-hmm. And when you eat pork, it's very dull, and the pores are extremely large.
What about my skin?
Well, we're not going to go there.
Come on now.
You look pretty good. You look pretty good. But I'm not very close either. Okay. See, when you look in a magnifying glass and you virtually, you see almost nothing but a smooth, glazy finish, that's usually from eating mostly vegetation. But now, then there's people that use a lot of seasonings and salts and all that. We have to understand there's the salt is contaminated and the food is contaminated, but we can still choose to make better choices with food. We really can. Our tongues, our taste buds are distorted because we're putting so much junk on our food.
Right.
Learn how to eat and appreciate the natural flavors. Some people, I eat avocados. Avocados, they have like a buttery, creamy, oh no, it's got to be a guacamole, or it's got to have onions and this. And if you grow up that way, or if you've been conditioned that way, and then when you just have some healthy food that is not overly seasoned or spicy, it's very difficult for you to adjust. And you can adjust eventually. See, a healthy tongue, your tongue is an organ, just like your skin is your largest organ, of course, but a tongue is an organ.
Well, I do have a book that, I have several books. If you go on to Amazon and you put in health by Dan Edward, and I have several different books on how to eat naturally already. Ms. Jacqueline and myself, we wrote a book that lets you know some of the things that she was talking about here. But we'll be cranking out a series of books about health, because I want all my customers worldwide to be healthy, whether you're healthy reading my books, listen to Ms. Jacqueline, listen to WL. For God's sake, keep yourself alive. My grandfather said, be good to your mother's child. No one on earth is going to be as good to you as you. So number one, say your prayers. Number two, eat correctly. Number three, do your exercise. And don't overdo it. Get your rest. Drink your water. There's so many different things that you can do to stay healthy. Do things that you enjoy. Avoid stress. Let your stress be something that you're doing that you enjoy. If you like lifting weights like me, or basketball like me, all of that's positive stress. Don't do the negative stress. Get rid of it, because it will kill you.
Well, yes. It's been said that your voice and your teeth can last your entire life. But we've been fooled many times, the so-called basic food pyramid and the milk and the calcium, and you're just full of mucus and phlegm, and it's just amazing how society is so money hungry that they leave people in ignorance and they're contaminating the food. And so maybe that's why so many of the youth are the way they are, because the chemicals and the foreign substances in the food and the television and the media, you cannot be creative anymore. You want to have nice artistry and decent media, but the world is, we're selling out, so to speak.
Well, I won't let this program end without Ms. Jacqueline giving us a little bit of her unique and powerful voice. This woman has a voice that needs to be managed, hint, hint, WL, and she needs to be packaged and sold in books, e-books, DVDs, because she is
let's hear her. Don't keep talking. Let's hear her.
No.
WL
You're not going to put me on that.
WL
Come on
said,
now,
let's hear her. If you
acapella
don't do
voice.
anything but say,
Acapella.
me, 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 you got to do at least that.
Me.
You got to do at least that.
Me, mama, mama. mama. Oh.
Now put some
All
words
you
to it.
manager types, you heard her number.
Put some words to it.
Words. Words to what? An arpeggio?
Yeah.
Opera.
You know, that's funny.
She
You
gave
wanna
me an
put me on the
operatic
spot.
piece that she made the windows in the place. We were at the Hyatt Regency downtown.
Made them rumble?
She made the windows rumble with her
Oh,
voice.
it may have been Lascia Ch'io Pianga by Luigi Della Piccolo, but that's an Italian
What she
piece.
said.
That's one of my favorites. You know, when you're in school to study, they give you these basic pieces. They may not go with your voice, and you're stuck with them. And many of them were like that because they have a high voice, a low voice, a medium voice, and I'm actually a coloratura. So the high voice really wasn't ever doing much glory for me. But I did find, you know, a couple of songs that were pretty nice that I did like, and that was one of them. And then they have Gianni Schicchi, that the little solo. We did that. It's an opera, kind of an operetta. But it's in Italian also. I like Italian. But maybe another time I'll
Now,
get a little
she's
more
very
specific.
shy.
I'm not shy.
She
Can't be
is
shy. That's
She's
entertainer
very
and shy. No, Dan.
And the thing is, that it's,
Dan, you
it's,
made her mad someplace.
It's beautiful
Somewhere
that
along
she's
the road.
shy because she's so talented. She's trained some of the
Talented
best
people are not shy.
modeling talent. She's not that upfront person. Can you say Paul Mooney? He wrote for Richard Pryor. This lady is a comedian.
But Paul Mooney
She
also
does fashion.
entertains.
She can sing. Okay, she's a disciplinarian. She'll get on the train. They're smoking on the train. Put that out. She'll put people off the train. Her dad was a cop.
Well, no, my
She's
uncle
not
was
a
a
punk
cop.
by any means. You're talking to a cop right here.
My
A
uncle
sheriff.
was, but my dad was not one to tangle with. He was a serious guy. He was a big guy, but he was powerful. And he was always my image for a man, so he was powerful. I had a big brother and a big dad and a big German shepherd. You know, so nobody came to the house. The boys were afraid to come to the house because Jimmy the dog was a 135-pound shepherd.
Wow.
Yes, and
I'd be
I trained
afraid
him.
too.
I trained him. And then my dad was known for the boys, if they came by, usually the door would slam because he was very particular. And then actually the people he ran away, they weren't really for much good. Because, you know, a man that's traveled the world and has been in the service in the Navy, they kind of have that instinct. So he actually was correct in some of those situations. But yes, he was extremely strict. But, you know, my mom, I guess my music and my creative, I didn't even know my dad could sing, but he could sing. He was like what they call the bass profundo, you know, the deep, rich voice like the guy in the Temptations. He had a really deep, rich bass voice and could sing.
Tell WL about it.
And my mom played the classical piano. And the great works, I thought it was like she's fooling around. She was very ornate like Liberace, and she played all these works. When I went to music school, I'm like, oh my God. She played this, you know, the really serious, difficult pieces.
Tell WL about how smart you were as a little girl, how you were planning.
Oh, well, you know, I was always doing something, and I was always doing something creative. If it was drawing faces on balloons, and the balloons would sing, you know, in harmony. And there was when I was in grade school, though, I guess I didn't really have gifted classes, so I was always doing something. But I know in second grade, in first grade, I would sit and plan businesses. I don't even know if my parents actually would have like a diagram of, you know, like even little boys that had crushes on me. I would have names and I would be eliminating them. Well, no, this one, no, this one, this is. And then as far as businesses, I actually was planning businesses, you know, because I want to do a lot for the community. But my business, it wouldn't just be for money, but businesses that I would actually have. And then also I would be planning, this is kind of funny, you're gonna laugh. I would be planning even more creative type situations. It's probably amazing, but my mind would work like that when I was just in first and second grade, and I would be creating and inventing and planning the names of my children. I was actually doing a process of elimination for names of the children and all of that as a first and second grader. I used to want to be a nun, a race car driver, and a gymnast. Those were some of my, then I said, well, you know, I'm going to be a civil rights leader. Maybe I'm Harriet Tubman reincarnated or something. But I was always just myself. I was never a follower, never, ever. When whatever the latest I wasn't doing, I was usually the innovator. When I was in the band in school, I went at my friends, the friends that didn't care much about music, it was just an elective. We went and won the state contest as an ensemble because I helped my friends. And these aren't even the music kids, see? And I felt very proud because I worked, you know, we had the little sectionals in the basement of my girlfriend, Michelle Matlock. I haven't seen her, she was so precious, but she played the clarinet just for fun. For me, it was really a very serious situation. And she did a good job, and she practiced, and we practiced. And see, this is what I'm saying. I grew up where almost every kid on the block had an instrument. They may have not pursued it. You know, it's not a puppy that's cute and then, oh, it poops and let's get rid of it. But that's kind of how the people now, they don't even want to fool with an instrument. It's in your computer. And I think, or let's say, if we try, it's not old school, there's this classic mindset and classic behavior. If you want to be a musician should start with a piano because that is the basis of theory, and you can always get a gig because you can sing and play. You can't play a clarinet and sing at the same time. You can't play a trumpet, you know, you can't do that. But if you play the piano, you can work at a church or you can work at a club or you can produce music or do something, but they don't want to do that. Percussion is all of those instruments, marimbas and xylophones, but even to just play the drum set. Some people call it the trap set.
Miss Jacqueline's piano lessons?
Well, that was not my specialized area. When you're in music education, you learn all the instruments well enough to teach, and because I know so much, the great teacher may not be the best performer. Now, I was a very good performer, but many teachers, they emotionalize and they care and they know their craft very well. It would be good. A lot of people that are very good, oh, I can't teach a beginner. Oh, you know, they get their ego inflated and they don't feel like going back to where they began. I don't have a problem with that myself.
Well, can you tell WL about your girls that I have to compete with for your attention?
Oh, I have 2 doggies. Yes, they're very sweet. And it's unfortunate that this particular breed gets such the bad reputation. They're Staffies. Well, their mom was an American Pit Bull. Their dad was the American Staffordshire, which they're pretty much the same breed. I guess one's a little more statuesque and more eloquent and maybe taller, and certain features, you know, are a little different. But they're sweet. But now, of course.
How old are they?
In November, I think they'll be 3, and they're like babies. One acts like a baby. She's so sweet, and the other one is very protective. The one that's much larger than her sister, whereas they always had before they were able to open their eyes, they did everything together. So they had to be together, and one protects the other. And one of them, she was so, I guess you would say, the pick of the litter. She was the smartest and she was the biggest and all of that. And her name is Prima Dulcie Ross. Now, you know, some of that is spiritual name and other is just, you know, creative, you know, words. And the other one is Shakti Devi Hayes, which in the Vedic scripture, one of the names is derived from. And some people in the temple say, oh my God, that's an insult because they're dogs. Because in certain other countries, dogs are not, they don't like dogs. My dogs are very clean. I clean their feet before they come in the house, suds them up and wipe them with white towels. And they eat a lot of vegetables and a lot of healthy supplements and beets and all of that in addition to their food.
The dog eats better than me.
But you know what? I used to dry kale and crumble it in their food as well and put grapeseed oil. But I'm going to say this. My dog's personalities are probably the way they are is because of how they eat and what they would listen to. When I would leave them alone when they were puppies, they actually, don't laugh, but they would listen to yoga music and spiritual music. and very mindful music. So even if I put pop music, it would be something very pleasant. But as a rule, it was they had a tape. It was a yoga mantra type, it's vibratory type, you know, and that was the sound vibration. So now maybe if all those pit bulls and all of the Rottweilers that are being mistreated, instead of putting them down or whatever else happens to them where they just become sad and downtrodden, maybe if we let them listen to yoga music, and because you are a part of your environment, and also what you read and what you eat.
Well,
And
tell WL which one of these
proof.
dogs listens to me when
This
I'm
is
talking
proof.
to you on the telephone and starts moaning because I'm talking to you and not him. Which one is that?
Oh, that's usually Prima Dulcie Ross. She's very protective. She knows a man's voice, usually if it's a woman's voice. So it's like my father, maybe my father's soul is, so I don't know what's going on, but if there's a male voice and it's on speaker, then she starts, oh, and I would do vocal, you know,
And I always
vocal
say you
lessons.
have to share Miss
Listen,
Jacqueline with me.
I would do vocal lessons around the doggies a lot. Okay, and so I'm wondering if she's trying to, because she's, oh, 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 you know, so maybe she's trying.
She's trying to sing.
Yes, and the smaller one knows how to step. So I can put on music, and I mean, I can go 3 records and she's
This is
still.
a show in and of itself. We have to get
Right.
the girls on the show if they can do all that.
Yeah, but it's funny. Yeah, I hold her paws and she moves with me. The other one, she cannot. She's a little bigger, but she can't stay on her paws that long. The other one, I take one paw. You know how you take the lady's arm to one arm and I turn her around, and she does it. She cooperates the whole time.
How big are they?
Well, they're not like super pits that, you know, they have these that have been genetically tweaked. They're your pretty normal size. So,
Pit bull?
well, Staffordshire, okay? One is a little smaller than the other. So one feels like she weighs 90 pounds, but she's probably closer to 60 pounds, yeah. Because they're solid, but she jumps, she's a jumper. You know, during an interim period when I was moving, I put her in a shelter for a little while, a doggy shelter, and the food and everything was provided. She jumped a 12-foot fence like nothing. I believe she could jump a 20-foot. I taught her a lot of this, but it didn't come in handy because there was a main street there. Yeah.
I know that pits know how to climb.
Oh yeah, well they have
Especially
the claws.
if it's a picket
Oh
fence,
yeah.
they'll put
Oh yeah,
claws
they're
right in.
brilliant. They're an oxymoron. They are, because they can jump super high. They can run like greyhounds. They have a certain amount of intelligence, you know, and they are very athletic and strong. So they're an oxymoron. Now there's probably other dogs. They say, what is that dog called? There's certain dogs that are very smart. Some of those trick dogs.
Show dogs?
Well, no, there's one. I can't think of it. It has all the spots all over its body.
Dalmatian?
No, not those kind of spots. I can't think of it right now. They kind of have like a collie face, and they have the spots on their body, but they're considered one of the smartest breeds. Pit bulls, unfortunately, they're very temperamental. I've had more than my share of them, and they are very
So have
temperamental,
I.
and they're very emotional. My doggies, I've raised probably 16 dogs. I've had German Shepherds, Keeshond, Chows, you know. But these are the most loving. It's so sad that people think of them as something you want to turn into mean. You know, of course they're protected.
312-934-1629 if you want sweet, loving, operatic, dancing dog.
Stop it.
We're trying to give away the dogs there. Well, listen, guys, we are out of time, and I appreciate you coming and sharing your stories with the audience. I'm sure they appreciated it. And again, to get in touch with you, give them your number.
Ms. Jacqueline at 312-834-2371 at 2136 West 95th at 11 o'clock a.m. Thursday. There will be a financial educational presentation, and we are also recruiting, and we're looking for entrepreneurs and even those that are interested in brick and mortar for financial services. Now, we are financial brokers. We offer services in every capacity that you can imagine that will assist you. with your finances, whether it's for credit or whether it's for investing. But it's very educational what we do because the norms of the society just don't have this information. So I'm inviting you out. Also, Saturday morning at 9:30. And I believe we'll do something next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. But you must be there on time. My name is Ms. Jacqueline. You can personally be my guest, but call me for a confirmation. And we look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much.
Dan?
And I would just like to say that this Thursday at 6 p.m., 2120 South Michigan, everybody come out and enjoy the celebration of Willie Dixon's Blues Heaven Foundation. That number is 312-808-1286 if you want to have a tour. There will be no cost. And for myself, for the books, if you'd like to write a book, call me, 312-934-1629. Or if you'd like to promote a book you already have. And like I said, if you don't remember me for the books, remember the harmonica.
And if you want to remember me for saying good night. We'll see you at this time tomorrow. Thanks, Liza. Thank you.
Yes, sir.